The next topic we'll be hopping into from The Wild Way to Lucid Dreaming is going to be about Slider's relaxation technique that he uses to try and get down into stage 1 of sleep hypnagogia as quickly as possible while maintaining his lucidity or his conscious awareness. And then after that, probably in the next video, we'll go over the technique that he uses to try and essentially trick the body to go directly from stage 1 of sleep hypnagogia directly into REM instead of into some other, stage of the sleeping process. All right, so his first recommendation here is a bit of an odd one from my point of view. I understand that this has definitely worked really great for him, but for me, I would definitely see this more as a preference thing than anything else. But he recommends to actually, when you're lying down, to be on your side, and specifically on your left side. And then also he has here lying down on your left side with your knees together and legs slightly bent, so kind of like the fetal position. This jumped out to me because I remember it a long time ago. It's like one of the first books I read when I was really getting into lucid dreaming, the Tibetan Yogas of Dream and Sleep. I remember in here there was some kind of mention about which side of the body you should be sleeping on for your dream yoga practice. Dream yoga is essentially lucid dreaming. And they actually recommend that for men, so it's different for men and women, that men sleep on their right side and women should be sleeping on their left side, and apparently has something to do with like the key channels or chakras or something like that. I totally forget. But for me personally, I've always preferred to a huge degree to do it on my back, right? I like to sleep on my back. I got the pillows piled up underneath my knees to help with my low back because I got low back issues. I always found that to be just the most comfortable for me. And I do find that it does help me seem to access hypnagogia better. So like when I'm first going to sleep at night, I always start off on my back. That's how I enter into hypnagogia. But then like later on in the night, or say if I'm having a hard time falling asleep or something, at some point I might switch over to one side. But I do find it easier, especially in the beginning, to access hypnagogia, for me personally, while I'm sleeping on my back versus being on one of your sides. And I know he brings up at least a couple more times throughout this book why he likes sleeping on his left side. However, I did not go read ahead in the book to try and go through my other highlights to figure out where it is that he talks about it. But going off memory, I'm pretty sure he came to this conclusion here just simply out of trial and error, right? He would just go to sleep on his back side, right side, left side, whatever. And he just found through personal experience that sleeping on his left side has worked best for him by a large margin. All right, so now that we got that part out of the way, this is really where the main process of his relaxation technique comes into play. So first you lie down on your left side or whatever side you want for a few minutes to let your body kind of relax into that into the position that it's in. Do some minor adjustments in this few minute period to get as comfortable as you can, because you absolutely want to be moving as little as possible once you really get this whole relaxation technique thing going. Okay, then what you're going to do is you take in a long breath through your nose, fill up as much as you can without really stressing out your body and trying to, hold in too much air. So you have to try and close your throat off so it doesn't just come out on its own, right? So take as big a breath as you can through your nose while still being generally relaxed, not forcing it too much. Hold it for about 4 to 5 seconds and then release it out through your mouth. And this kind of reminds me of like the whole box breathing thing. If you've ever heard of that, you can go Google it if you want. But box breathing I found to be pretty useful just to use like in life, not necessarily while I'm trying to sleep. Just to kind of, take a deep breath and calm down if things are getting a bit stressful. So after you do that one long inhale through your nose and hold for 5 seconds and exhale through your mouth, return back to regular breathing from that point for a few minutes, and then you do that whole thing again. Basically rinse and repeat this process for anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes. He also points out that as you're exhaling, that's when you really want to focus on trying to really have the body relax as much as possible. He says to pay specific attention to the head, neck, and shoulders on this exhale to feel like you're kind of like sinking into your bed. He also talks about here how you want to be so relaxed that if someone was to pick up your arm, it would just like flop back down to the bed with like dead weight. And this reminds me a lot of meditation technique that I just stumbled into totally on accident. Like 2 of the meditation techniques that I've stumbled into on accident that I've made videos on over the years, he basically has versions of in here, which I think is kind of cool. But so I have this whole like plain dead meditation technique that I've referred to it. That's how I referred to it in the past, where on every exhale, specifically at the bottom of my exhales is when I like to do this. I try just to turn off and die, right? Where I'll sleep with earplugs a lot, which makes it a lot easier to kind of hear and feel my heartbeat. And so like your heartbeat's gonna slow down a little bit on all the exhales and increase a little bit on all the inhales. So at the bottom of my exhale, when like I'm at my most relaxed and my heartbeat slows down the most, I try to die like in between the heartbeats. Man, this thing is screwing with me. So that works really well. You know, you inhale, and I'll just use that whole plain dead thing as like my object of attention for the meditation. So like, you know, focus on it, play dead at the bottom, inhale, let whatever come up, back down on the, oh, let me close this thing. Back down on the exhale, play dead again, and then just keep rinse and repeating. He also points out how you may feel a tingling sensation that typically will start off in your extremities. A lot of times for me, I can feel it initially in like my lower abdomen area too. I've called this my body buzz meditation in older videos. So basically, you can start to focus on that. I would like use that body sensation tingling as my object of attention versus say like the whole plain dead thing. And then it can kind of really build out. Like it almost can feel like your whole body can start to buzz at a certain point. Almost feels like you're expanding or something like that. So just a very pleasant feeling and a good way to kind of, you know, quiet the mind down, get relaxed, start drifting towards sleep. Yeah. Oh, he has a second method. Okay, so the second method is basically just doing the systematic thing of like starting at your head or your toes and systematically relaxing each of those body parts, working your way through that whole system while doing this whole, you know, inhale through the nose, hold for 4 to 5 seconds, exhale through the mouth thing. So you can try that as well. And yeah, we'll leave it with that. And then next up, we'll be talking about, you know, the once you get relaxed, you stop focusing on the physical sensations of relaxation, and you're going to switch your object of attention to, you know, the hypnagogia, hopefully the hypnagogia that should be popping up soon. So you'll basically be starting to pay attention to what's happening behind your closed eyes instead of focusing on the physical sensations of relaxing. One thing I forgot to throw in there with Slider's recommendation about sleeping on your left side with your knees together and your legs slightly bent is something you'll probably want to throw in there. And I imagine the vast majority of people who like to sleep on your side will probably already do this, but you would probably want to throw a pillow between your legs, right, and not actually have your knees literally touching. Even worse yet, if like say the top knee slides off in front, because when you do that, it just puts this twist into your spine, specifically your low back, and that can lead to low back issues down the line. So, you know, probably want to put a pillow between your legs. I would also mess around with getting pillows of different thicknesses, right, to kind of get it just right. Essentially, you're going to want your top leg to be perfectly in line with like your hip and your spine, so there isn't no slant to it and no twist to it. So yeah, that's it. Anyway, with this said, that'll wrap it up. Until the next video, keep your meditation practice, lucid dreaming practice, and your hypnagogic practice legit.